Hey guys, my name is Sadie Breezy in the place to be easy and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys have been good. I hope you guys have been well. I personally have not been on the best of moods. I haven't been okay. I think everything that happened this year only really got to me like the past few weeks, and I just saw myself crashing down and not doing anything and just sitting here without understanding what exactly I was doing. I didn't know where I was going or coming or I did not know, but I am here and I am here. So a few days ago I did a Q&A session on Facebook with phenomenal positive youths. So it was a Q&A session, and we agreed that I would take the questions and also do a Q&A session here on YouTube with you guys. The first one is, how old are you and are you in a relationship or single? I am 25 years old and I'm a single girl. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? But no meti so no meti. I don't like answering questions like this because I honestly never know what to say, and I just try to make sure that honestly this question is quite difficult. That's all I'm gonna say. But I do see myself having went back to school. Firstly, I see myself still working hard, still doing this YouTube, still alive, still happy, still taking care of myself, and still just choosing myself relentlessly. The third question was, how has it been coming out public with your status? Do you regret it? Coming out about my HIV status has been so liberating. It has given me this feeling of emancipation. I don't think there's anything that makes me feel more liberated than me being so open about my HIV status. It really has helped me be able to live my life in such a better way, because now I literally don't do anything from a place of hiding information, especially where my HIV status is concerned. I can literally pop pills in it, like in a social setting, and I'm fine with it. I am honestly living my best life now, and I'm okay with how my life has panned out. I do not regret it at all, and yeah, it's been great. I don't regret it. Were you in denial? Were you ever in denial, and how long did it take? How did you cope? I was in denial when I first found out about my HIV status. I found out when I was 14, and from 14 years old until I was 18, I literally pushed the whole HIV positive thing to the back of my mind, and I stopped thinking about it, and I stopped thinking about it. I think the only time I'd be reminded that I was living with HIV would maybe be if I saw something on TV that would kind of like trigger me. If I like saw an advert or like a TV series that would maybe have a storyline on someone who was living with HIV, I'd like, or like in school when we'd be talking about HIV and AIDS, I'd kind of get a bit triggered. But otherwise I lived my life like nothing was happening. So that was my denial stage. It lasted for about 4 years, and how I coped, literally, as I'm saying, I pushed it to the back of my mind and I stopped thinking about it. Have you ever defaulted on your treatment? If so, why? How long did it take? I have not defaulted on my treatment, but what I have done, of course, is me staying for 4 years without taking those annual HIV tests, so without really taking care of my health. But ever since I've been on treatment, I have not defaulted on my treatment. What has been the most challenging situation in your activism work? I think the most challenging situation, the most challenging thing about doing what I do is the fact that and I'm not even complaining, but I sometimes feel like people tend to forget that we're human, and sometimes I also think we are also responsible for that, because I get and we portray this, I'm strong and I'm great and I'm all this. Yeah, I'm this person who overcame this hard thing that was so hard at one point, but right now I am a human being, and I go through days when I'm not fine, and I go through days when I'm not at the best of moods, and I go through days where my heart breaks as well. So I feel like sometimes people don't really, it kind of takes people aback. They get taken aback when they realize that, hey, but you're just a human being whose heart breaks and who can like snap and say hey and stuff. Another thing that has been challenging for me personally has been the fact that I sometimes get a lot of people who send me messages and inboxes and DMs who will be asking me for helping anyway, and at times I can't help them. That breaks my heart all the time, and I have had to come to a place where I had to constantly remind myself that I was doing the best that I could, and that when I'm in a position to help people, I do it selflessly. So the main challenging thing has just been me not being able to help everyone, but also having to keep on affirming myself and reassuring myself that what I was doing was good, and that I was trying the best that I could, and when I can help, I do it. So there's no need for me to be so hard on myself, especially on things that I have no control over. How do you deal with stress? Have you ever suffered any mental health problems? I don't know how I deal with stress. I don't know. I just find myself going through it and eventually get out of it. I'm not even gonna lie, I don't know how I deal with it. Also, one thing that I've realized is that when I'm not okay mentally, I tend to withdraw. I don't post much on social media. I don't do YouTube videos at all. I don't do YouTube videos at all when I'm not okay. So that's how I see, and that's how I know that I'm really not okay. And I have suffered from mental health problems before. I have spoken about them on my channel, where I do sometimes go through those anxieties where I'm just so anxious about everything, and I just feel like, do people really like the things that I do? I tend to go through those things where I just feel so anxious about a lot of things. I battle with suicide. I have actually attempted once. How easy is it to access PrEP in South Africa? Accessing PrEP in South Africa, I don't think it's that easy. I do believe that it's a bit easier for people who are marginalized, such as your sex workers or men who have sex with other men. Those are the people who are put like at a higher priority in terms of accessing PrEP. I do know that a person can actually buy it for themselves, but living in a country like South Africa where we live in poverty, now you should commit yourself to buying PrEP every month. It's not an easy thing. I mean, even for us people who are living with HIV, it's not easy for us to buy our own ARVs. That is why they are free. So I feel like PrEP needs to be accessible for everyone in South Africa. How easy is it to work with other youths who have come out positive in your country or worldwide? This has been the most easiest thing to do in South Africa and worldwide because of the beauty of social media. I have met a lot of people on social media who are living with HIV. I have a whole YouTube video on inspiring women who are living with HIV. Some I've met, some I haven't met, but we still talk because of social media, and it has just been so great to be able to access them that easily. We are so fortunate that we are the generation that we are literally the social media generation, right? So it's so easy for us to access people all over the world, and yeah, it's not too hard to be able to go on the internet and find someone to do something with them if you want to. So it's not really hard working with other young people who've come out positive in my country or worldwide. How did COVID affect access of treatment in your country? COVID affected everyone, everywhere, and it did affect the access of treatment in my country. I remember it was July, and there was a record that stated that about 11,000 people who were living with HIV had not went to collect their ARVs. And I mean, we all have different reasons why we were not going to go collect our pills. Some people, I mean, we are all on lockdown. Some people were not quite privy to information, like if you registered at a certain clinic and if you are locked down in another place, like in a completely different province or whatever, you can still go to your local clinic and still get access to treatment. Personally, I went through a phase where I was really scared. I remember the first time I had to go to the clinic during lockdown, I was so anxious. I think I did post about it on Facebook and on Twitter that I was so scared of having to go to the clinic, because we were all just going through a lot and we were all just so anxious about a lot of things. Those were difficult times. So yeah, a lot of people were not really okay. Who motivated you to come public with your HIV status? Who are your role models in your HIV activism? I was motivated so a year before I tested positive for HIV, what had happened is, so I tested in 2009, right? 2008 in December, I had a magazine that had profiled about 10 women who were living with HIV, and I remember reading their stories. I think those were like the first people I actually read about, the first real life people I read about who were so open about their HIV statuses. And I remember just feeling like, this is so courageous and this is so brave, and who does this? Alright, so I remember just feeling like, if something like this was to happen to me, I hope it doesn't, but if it was to happen to me, I definitely would do this too. Of course, when I tested positive 6 months later, I did say that if I tested positive for HIV, I'd go out there and educate people about it, and my results came back positive, and the whole brave approach flew out of the window, because I mean, I was just saying that to seem smart, and now this was my reality. 4 years later, I did decide to disclose. So I do feel like there was a bit of motivation or a bit of inspiration from that magazine issue and those women. And my role models in my HIV activism are definitely people who are living with HIV. I feel like people who are living with HIV are so resilient. They are so strong. I don't like describing people as strong, but I do feel like they do try their best to overcome their situations, whether you are open with your status or not. Choosing yourself and choosing to live in a world and society that constantly tells you that there is something completely wrong with you shows power, and it shows resilience, and you guys are my motivation. Do you at some point see yourself walking away from this HIV talks and practically start doing something else? Or let's say, do you at times feel like you're only good at HIV advocacy and nothing else? I don't see myself walking away from advocacy. I feel like advocacy is not like a career, it's a calling type of a thing. For me, at least, I don't see myself walking out of it. I don't see myself completely stopping to be the HIV victor that I am. Of course, I still want to grow myself, and I still have to grow personally, so I have to keep on trying to make sure that I don't just reduce my entire existence to just being that girl who was born with HIV. There are a lot of things that I still want to do, and I am going to do them. What has been the most exciting thing about living your HIV positive life well? The most exciting thing has definitely been the fact that I am so open about it. I feel like being open about your HIV, for me, being open about my HIV status, as I mentioned earlier on, it has given me the most liberating feeling ever. And the most exciting thing for me is being able to say I am Sadie and I'm living with HIV without fearing what people would say, without fearing what you guys would say, without fearing the judgments and the stigma of course there will be hateful comments that will tick me off and they will make me really triggered, but living my life as open as I have lived my life has honestly changed how I view life, and it has contributed to me living a positive life well. Have you lost people you call friends because of your HIV status? No, I have the best friends in the entire universe, and my family is also quite supportive, so I haven't. For how long have you been on medication? I've been on medication since 2013, so it's been 7 years. How old were you when you discovered you were HIV positive? I was 14 years old when I discovered my HIV status. Were you born with it or just contracted it from someone, and how was your reaction when you found out? I was born with it. I was 14 when I found out. I was at a school trip. I was scared. I didn't think that my results were going to come back positive. So obviously I tested just for the sake of making memories. And then when that lady said you tested positive for HIV, the first thing I said was, but I'm just 14. I didn't do anything because I was not dating. I was not having sex. So in my mind I was just like, how is this a thing? I was honestly very shocked. Pretty lady, hey. When did you discover that you were HIV positive and how did you react? Had there been any negativity from your friends and family? So the first one is, when did I discover? I was 14. How did I react? I was scared. I was shocked. Had there been any negativity from my friends and family? No. Do you face rejection from men? I have only been rejected once in a relationship, and that experience was hurtful. It happened when I was 21 years old, and I am grateful for that experience because it also opened my eyes. I don't think I deserved it. I did not deserve that, but I am grateful for that experience because I feel like it opened my eyes to a lot of things. So what can be your advice for people who are having challenges to accept their HIV status? I'm so sorry that you are finding it hard to accept your status. I know it's not easy. I've been there, so I understand. Please try to forgive yourself. Please try to forgive your past, and please just try to focus on at least taking your pills. One thing that I usually say to people who find it difficult to accept and stuff, I'm just like, I know it's a difficult time to be in and it's a difficult thing to have to go through, but just take your pills. You will focus on your mental health and your emotional state, but just make sure that you are busy taking your AL. When getting into a new relationship, when do you think it's the best time to disclose your HIV status? I personally I do it in the early stages of a relationship because I don't want to waste my time. I also don't want to waste the person's time. So I try to do it very early for my own peace of mind and for my own sanity. I just want to do it and get it out of the way. And honestly, I'm quite privileged in the sense that because I'm so public about my HIV status, I tend to meet people who are already aware of my HIV status, so I'm not even going to act like that also does not work in my favor, because people approach me already knowing, which saves me a lot of things. How can being positive make you equal with everyone else? Is there a difference? There's no difference between me and someone who's HIV negative. The only difference is that I take ARVs. Otherwise, everything I do, you do. Everything you do, I do. So I don't think there's any difference. There's nothing that separates me from people who are HIV negative. How? No question, but I can say you're a beautiful baby girl. Thank you. You really are a beautiful story. Thank you. You look very healthy. What diet do you eat? Is it different from everyone else? No. So there's no really a different diet that I'm on. Sorry. As kissing, guys. There's nothing that I do. I'm not in any diet that kind of, there's not like special diet for people who are living with HIV. So I just eat things that everyone else eats. Are you detectable? I am undetectable. Can you forgive a person who infected you with HIV as young as you were? I have had to forgive them. I've had to forgive my parents for my own sanity and for my own peace of mind. I have had to let go of it all in my teen years, and like, yeah, until I was like 20, I used to have that whole thing. I wish they were still alive, because I wanted them to be here. Who came with it? What happened? Because I was so angry. But I've had to move on from all of that, and I've had to let it go, because firstly. So the feelings of anger and betrayal, and as much as that wasn't cool back then, I felt like nothing that happened to me was cool, or I felt betrayed. And listen, all my feelings were valid at that time, but I've had to get to a place where I had to forgive and just let things go and focus on the life that I still had. What do you do in your spare time? Yo, but home. I sleep. I sleep. I watch YouTube. I video call with my friends for hours. I'm actually a very boring person. I am boring. I am a very boring person, and I also like staying home, so I'm always in the house. There's not much that I do with my free time other than eating and sleeping. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. That is the end of our Q&A session. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for the love, the support. Thank you so much for just being such awesome people. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment down below if you have any other questions that you felt like were not included in the video, and I could answer those questions. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and yeah, see you guys on my next one. Bye.